Shouts to everybody locked in on a Monday, right? Do not fool yourself, right? Anyone that you see hanging around an artist, well, I'm not gonna say anyone. That's too general. Most of the people that you see hanging around an
overwhelming
artist
majority
cannot tell the artist the truth.
No.
Right? They're not there to be truthful to the artist at all. They're there to make up numbers, right? So when I say make up numbers, it means the artist walks into the room, there's a bunch of people with him, it gives a slight intimidation. You know, they're there to say, artist, you want something for drink? Run got a bar. They're there to say, yo, Chin, Drew, nobody pressure the artist, him no want to talk to you, know. That's what they're there for. This is what their jobs are, right? Maybe if the artist prips and see a nice little thing, him say, yo, go get the girl and bring her here, so you know what I mean? And yeah, these are what their jobs are. It's everything except for being honest with the artist and say, yo, artist, you know, say you don't have to talk to your woman so in public, you know. Your artist, you know, say you shouldn't do that, you know. Your artist, you know, say that line, you know. Your artist, you know, say you buy too much car, you know. Your artist, you know, none of that.
No good advice.
They're not allowed to say any of that.
So you think most artists don't want anyone that's honest and want yes people?
Of course, it's the reality.
Yeah.
It's the reality. That's
doesn't
why
want
How
that's
would you
why
want
they
that
exist.
though? Why would you want that?
Because
What do you mean,
that's
why?
just basically what comes with an entourage.
Right. That's why they exist. There's no one.
Nobody in your entourage is supposed to oppose you.
Or you won't be an entourage.
All right, so you don't want, but you do want somebody who's real. You don't
No,
want
not in the
real
entourage.
people.
No, the real person.
Not in the entourage.
No, the real person is the person who you call up on the phone one away when you're not there around the entourage, and you say, "Yo, that's it."
Listen to a song here
All
for
right.
me.
Listen to a song and tell me what you
Strictly
think.
for clout.
And
Okay.
he does not ever get the perks of the entourage, the Fanta, the weed, the food. He will get if the tune go on, and him say, yeah man, this can go on. No, if you change this and change that.
In most
and then-
cases, that particular person is not the person that follows the artist
No,
around.
he's not. He's somebody who went away.
That particular person is someone that usually has his life already structured. He doesn't really need to depend on the artist,
Right.
such as
Right.
So he's willing to say to the artist, "Say, artist,
That not make
you're
it."
missing, that not make it, right?" And the artist is his friend. It's just a different vibe.
Yeah.
You can look at artists, and here's the thing that people really don't understand, right? If you understand the culture that we live in, you can just stand from afar and you can identify the groupies
and the brethren.
from the people who are actually
Yeah.
really brethren.
Right.
Yeah.
You can, because the artist deals with them differently. Even if there's a slight difference, if you look closely, you can see the difference, right? Some people are just there to carry luggage, and do chores. And again, artists like to have a familiar surroundings around them. That's one thing about artists, right? So let's just say they're going to Australia, right? Somewhere far from Jamaican culture. They don't want to be in Australia by themselves, where there's nobody to tell jokes and nobody to go look gal with, and they want to be familiar. They want to recreate the Jamaica settings. And this is why, you get 5 extra tickets or 6 extra tickets for people to come, because that vibe is recreated. Does that make sense?
Yeah, man.
Right? So you say, yo, come make a walk down the road. Yo, come make a go down this. And you have fun, and it's this and it's that. But don't believe in any situation, or most. Let me stop using, being exact. In most situations, the people who are on the road with the artists are not valued people. They can't talk to the artists. They cannot. And sometimes, I'm going to even take it further than that. Sometimes the managers are groupies. Sometimes the manager can't talk to the artist either. I'm not asking this. 718-554-8598.
Hey.
Call you live.
Yo, good evening, guys. How you guys
Good
doing?
evening.
Drewski, is Drew in there? Drew over there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, he is.
What's going on, Drew? Drew's mad at me, man. Hey, listen, I wish you guys would just pause for a minute and stop digging up Sanchez for this brand new song and all of that. You got to go back and look at where he got the rhythm from. Right from John Holt's Alibaba. I mean,
But isn't that part of our culture, though? It's part of our culture.
No, man. No, don't
That's
support
not part
that.
of the culture.
No, I'm not saying it's not part of the culture. I'm talking about you guys bust him the other day for originality, and now he takes John Old's Alibaba's rhythm and throw a song on it. New song, big song. Come on, guys.
You know you're lucky
Come
it's not
on.
Thursday. I'm
No,
gonna just
no,
say
it's
that
not
to you. You're
Thursday,
very lucky it's not Thursday. Have a good night, sir.
Listen,
It was
fling on
lovely speaking to you.
Alibaba. Fling
No,
on
right.
Alibaba.
But here's
and
what
you'll
I
see
will
I'm
say.
talking about.
Thank you, sir.
Here's
Go ahead.
what I will say to you though, right? I see your point, but in the other corner of the room or in the center of the room, we also have to have the argument that this is what our culture is. Our culture
I'm not
is
saying- I'm
the
not saying don't have-
recreation of rhythms from the past,
But I'm not-
bringing
but I'm
them
not
back
saying-
with new lyrics, right?
But
I'm not saying don't have the conversation, but don't pretend like it's a brand new song.
But
brand new
caller,
song.
caller.
But it's
Yeah, go ahead.
it's a remake. One, it's a remake of the Alibaba rhythm,
Which we're happy to hear.
right? So it's not the original Alibaba. It's a remake. So there's some type of newness to that. And then Sanchez is gracing it with a vibe that we haven't heard before in a long time. So
And
let's be
I'm
fair.
not
thing- and I
feeling.
don't-
I'm not feeling.
You're not
Not-
feeling
you're
it.
not-
Fair
fair, that's
enough.
all you should say.
Fair enough.
But
Fair
here
enough.
is the thing.
Bust it or flush it. Bust it or flush it.
Well, that's
Right?
Tuesday. That's Tuesday night. That's Tuesday
I
night.
know,
That's
I
And
know.
they passed that already.
All right,
By
big
the
up,
way,
brother.
caller, before you go, just remember this though: the argument about Sanchez's originality was only about lyrics. It had nothing to do with the rhythms he chose. It was all lyrics. So please call back on Thursday so we can have this conversation right now.
718-554-8598 is that number in studio. Shouts to everybody locked in, 31 cities across and growing, right? It is Sound Chat Radio on a Monday. The team is in the building. Big up to the livest chat room on the planet. Shouts to those of you who are hitting me on WhatsApp. Somebody on WhatsApp said, Chin, I give it to the artist. Them. Yeah, I kind of do. I kind of, because I think a lot of us are so misled by what we think. You know what I mean? We think, and as we get older, the word groupie starts to get more.
Yeah, it has more definition.
It has
and
more
meanings,
definition and meaning. When we were younger, we never really realized, and I think that all of us, as lovers of the music and people who selectors and stuff, we all had that groupie phase. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
we,
so.
We never know so we have it, but we have it.
Well, let me ask you this: how can a good manager be a groupie?
Of course.
A good manager, you said.
A good
Of course.
manager.
Well, most of the artists don't have good managers. That's number one, right?
Okay.
So that's one. Two is if you're managing an artist and you cannot control the artist on road and you cannot manage the artist's career, then you're not really a good manager. You're a groupie, right? If you've done business, those of you out there who know exactly what I'm talking about, if you've done business with a lot of these artists, you'll realize that them are manage the manager.
So again, my question is:
Yeah,
can a good manager,
a good manager,
a good manager,
solid manager
cannot be a groupie?
A
Can't
good
be a
manager wouldn't be a groupie,
Right.
but a lot of these brethren and sisters, they don't have good managers. They have people who collect their money for them, and they assign affairs to them or whatever. Like I've seen managers do things that I'm like, oh wow, this is crazy. And I've seen artists deal with managers in a way that if a real manager was dealt with that way, they would no longer be doing business. You know what I mean? And then I've seen real managers, and I told you guys I'm not gonna call his name now, but I've seen real managers. I remember when we were in Japan, and a particular artist went off to go, vibing and whatever to the mall or whatever, without telling the manager that he was leaving the hotel. And when he came back, the manager was sitting in the lobby. Like, yo, what I do? What I do? On the day I saw, me fall asleep, me call room and knock on door, and nobody not there. So una what? Una responsible for yourself now. And I seen the artist just humble himself while the manager deal with him wicked, right? And the manager was also being road managed by one of Jamin's son, right? So the two of them got it, right? And the manager, the two of them just have to humble and just say, all right, cool. A real manager that. You can see who's in charge, And his argument was simply like, yo, I brought you here. I'm responsible for you guys here. You guys go look gal. And one of them gal tell the police them say you rape them or anything of that situation or any problem where you get on the road.
Right.
The whole of we in that trouble, right? So I'm not trying to control your life. I'm running your business. This is business. You understand what I'm saying?
But does not artist have to assume some responsibility in order for his management to be good? I mean,
To date, I would say if we were going on a scale from 1 to 10 in dancehall, right? I would say the percentage of good managers would probably be 2 or 3. Good managers that have really picked up artists in the industry and made an impact on that artist's career. The artist don't get himself in no trouble or herself in no trouble. The artist does a mix song, tour the world, popping up on mainstream and doing the work, right? Where you can walk away from an artist and say, yo, I did that for that artist. Or somebody can look upon you and say, yo, I want that man they manage me because that man they have a resume. That's not what really happens in our culture. Talk the truth, Drew.
That's true.
Right? You just say, yeah, me and Stacey used to play marble, I know Stacey now rob me. Stacey, I'm a manager, I'm a body, my hat, right? Stacey has no understanding of any management skills,
contracts,
or
anything,
nothing.
man.
So what Stacey has to do is, Stacey ends up being what I call a money collector because that's all Stacey knows how to do. It's collect the money, right? Stacey knows say, you gave me 50%, the artist now go up on stage without the next 50%.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was talking to Sean the other day, Sean Paul. We were having this great conversation and he was telling me like, yo, bro, me I work with some artists, brother, and their manager. Like, me not understand how them mania believe them are gonna go away with them mania. You know what I mean? Again, I can't call names because it was an off-the-air conversation, but it's like he's doing business and the artist is kind of like, yo, talk to my manager, and he's like, but this dude is not no manager.
No, nothing, yeah. And if anybody would know a manager,
And like
Sean Paul.
basically Sean want to say, yo, you're attitude and you think I'll go somewhere, but this man now gonna help you. But he can't say it. So he's just saying it in his mind like, yo, them youth, this is a real problem. 718-554-8598 is that number in studio. Call you live.
Yeah, man, I feel like you're setting the laws down. You're setting some kind of ground rules. If you're dealing with somebody as a business partner, and that's what a manager should be, because whatever happens with the artist will reflect on the management. So for them now, they should be able to say, yo, this is the order of things. This is how we got to run this. My percentage is smaller than yours, but if you can't eat and you can't do shows or you get yourself in trouble, I can't get my little 1%. So communication is everything, So if you have a kind of system, whereas we abide by everything and we do everything a certain way, as the artist, his friends them gotta abide by that. All his entourage, and if they can't deal with it, then they stay home.
Communication is everything, and what we don't realize, thank you so much, what we don't realize when it comes to management is that managers, they're not allowed to punch out. A manager's job is like 24 hours, 7 days a week, right? A real manager, especially when they have a champion artist, right? A real manager has to be able to see the trouble before the trouble happens, get the trouble out of the way. A real manager has to make sure that the artist is taking care of his home life, because if his home life is in shambles, then it's going to affect the artist being productive and making songs and take the role. So it's like managers get involved in a lot of different aspects. It's just not just recording or signing to record labels, and this is what artists don't tell you. Artists may make it look like, the manager does something. Nah, managers really manage everything because it's a chain reaction. If you and your woman in a war, because you're there on road, and your woman call you while you're there on road at the show, and mess up your Evans, then the manager has to get involved. Because if the manager don't get involved, the manager is the one that's taking the money from all of these people for you to perform.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it goes a little more technical than how we look at it. Many of us just look at it as, yo, the manager signed 2 contracts or maybe blah, blah, blah. Nah, it's not that. When you have a champion, right? When you have a look at Fenke, put it this way, a booking agent's job is totally different from a manager's job.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
A booking agent doesn't care anything about the prosperity of the artist. The booking agent is simply saying, are you available for Saturday, November 5th?
Right.
Yes, me available. How much you want? This is what I want. And they negotiate what they negotiate with the client.
They don't care about
and
the well-being.
artist, right? But when you get a real manager, managers turn everything upside down because they got to, right? Managers, you know, and the sad thing about a manager is that when a manager gets a client, so Iron Voice is my client, and I'm working with Iron Voice, and I'm working with Iron Voice, and I'm working with Iron Voice. If somewhere down the road Iron Voice fires me, right? The only thing that I can take away from working with Iron Voice is my resume.
Yep.
That's it. So if I brought Iron Voice to sign to Bad Boys or to sign to Epic or whatever, if I brought Iron Voice to Africa and Japan and all these places, and now he's a big artist in Japan and Africa, once Iron Voice fires me or my contract is up, that's it. My job is done.
No residuals.
There's no residuals there when you are a manager, right? Your only real substance is your resume, because now you could take that resume and you can see another artist that's bubbling or has the potential to bubble and say, yo, me used to manage Iron Voice, you know, and I this me do, and then you start the process all over again. Right? But if you're a damager and not a manager, like, think about how much problems a lot of the artists get into. A lot of them get into those problems because the manager can't talk to them. Because if the manager could have talked to them, the manager's gonna say, yo, bro, listen, not only are you messing up your life and your career, but you're wasting my time and mashing up my business too. Because me can't manage an artist while they're in prison. How am I gonna make money? You know what I mean? So it's a whole different level of understanding when it comes to managers, people, and you know, and I'm not gonna say this is unique to just dancehall, because the hip hop dudes they're crazy too.
Yeah.
They're reckless.
What about when your management and your PR aren't in line?
And again, I think it's the management, you know, how I know it or how I feel like it should happen. You hire a manager that is qualified, and the manager puts the team together.
Right, put the PR and everybody
right?
else.
So that everything synchronizes. Now, of course, sometimes you'll have a special situation where the artist might say, this is the PR person I want to represent me. You know what I mean? And the manager is forced to do so. Or maybe the manager came on and got his or her duty and the PR was there prior, right? But in order for your thing to work the right way, the PR, the manager is the person who manages everybody that comes into the store. So think about the mall, right? And you walk into the mall, you walk into a store in the mall, you walk into the Louis Vuitton store in the mall, right? The manager's job is to manage what happens in that particular space, right? So the manager's accountable for everything in that space. The PR's job is the window, the display window. Right. The PR is the person in charge of making it so pretty that you want to walk into the store.
Right.
It's two different jobs.
Right.
You understand? But I'm sure that if you go into the Louis Vuitton place, the manager has a lot of say-so of what goes into the window.
Right.
Right? So, you know, if you guys think about it like that, right? When you're walking down the mall, a lot of us, maybe we'll see a store and we don't know the name of the store, Drew. But we'll say, yo, that sneakers they bought in the window, you know, that shirt they bought. Remember, go in there and see if more bad things in there.
Right.
Right? That's what the PR's job is, to create interest for the client, which is the artist, right? Create that interest, and then the manager capitalizes off of the interest created. I don't know how other, you know, way
that makes perfect
to
sense.
explain it.